Joined now by our Calgary Flames Bureau Chief Extraordinaire. He can wear a terrific suit at home if he wants to. It's Salim Valji. Salim, great to see you. It's been too long. It's been too long since I've chatted with you. We got to talk about the Flames off season. The biggest question, I think, on the minds of Calgary Flames fans right now is Rasmus Andersson. He will be a UFA next July the 1st. Therefore, he could potentially sign a contract extension this July the 1st. But will he be around to do that, or will the Flames trade him? How do you see this situation playing out?
In hindsight, Jay, it is fascinating re-listening to his final press conference there because it really does sound like a goodbye press conference. He was reflective. He kind of joked with me, "Hey, Salim, I liked your tweet about my contract. Did you see it? Did you see it?" It was pretty funny, but it goes to show that he knew probably that the end of his tenure in Calgary was coming. Around the time he talked with his favorite reporters for potentially the last time. And one of the comments he said, Jay, that really stood out to me was something to the effect of there's only so many minutes for a right shot defenseman. And he knows that Zane Parekh is this organization's present and future, and this hot shot prospect is going to get every opportunity in training camp to make the club. And Parekh projects as a power play quarterback and an offensive defenseman and someone that could potentially do things that Anderson just couldn't, right? He never really settled into that power play quarterback role, but was still such a good defenseman, heart and soul leader. The things he said to us in the media to stand up for teammates, or the odd sarcastic comment here or there. But at that press conference, he sounded reflective. I asked him, did you allow yourself to think that this could be that game, that final home game at the Dome could have been your last as a Flame? And he said he kind of did. And it goes to show that these guys, the noise does affect them. And I think it seems inevitable that both sides are going to move on, right? He's at that age where he's going to demand a big contract. The Flames aren't necessarily in that spot where they're doling out money to veterans like they were a couple of years ago when they brought in Nazem Kadri and others. So I think it's inevitable, and he's been a great Flame. He's been fantastic to deal with over the years. Really funny guy, really sarcastic, but sometimes it's a great marriage that ends in a separation, and I think that's what's going to happen here.
As for Dustin Wolf, what more can you say about his rookie season? It was incredible. Runner-up for the Calder Trophy. He's got a year left on his deal before he becomes a restricted free agent. Safe to say that GM Craig Conroy would like to get him locked up sooner rather than later?
I imagine so, because they've got such a backstory with him, right? They've had him in the organization for a few years. I think there's no complaints with his work ethic or this past Calder-esque season being a one-off. I think they only see room for growth, and his teammates really commended him. Like, they like him a lot. They love how he bounces back from tough games, how he takes accountability, him being a little more mature than you or I probably were when we were in our early 20s, if we're being honest, Jay. So I think they really appreciate that. And I imagine they view him as a franchise cornerstone. Why wouldn't you? He's proven everyone wrong at every single level. He's from Northern California, but he might still be in Calgary right now. He loves being in this city, and he was shooting hoops at the NBA exhibit not far from me a few weeks ago. I think he really enjoys the vibe of the city, and I imagine if they can lock him up for a maximum term deal, why wouldn't you? Right? It's the most important position in the sport. And as we see to our neighbors to the north, if you have questions in goal, it can have dire consequences. And I think for Dustin Wolf, the Flames kind of know that he's their franchise goalie, and to have him being a seventh rounder and finding that and nurturing it, it's a testament to him and the organization. Now it's just a question, I think, of putting pen to paper, but I do think they want to get him locked up and remaining a Flame for really close to the next decade.
Speaking of popular Calgary Flames, Costco himself, Justin Kirkland, signed a one-year extension on Monday, $900,000. Calgary has a lot of cap space available, $25 million available. You mentioned earlier in this chat with me that you didn't see the Flames going after the same kind of veterans they did a couple of years ago when they went after Nazem Kadri. So what do you think they will do in free agency with all that dough?
I think they'll do a whole lot, Jay, because you look at last year, they brought in Anthony Mantha. who had a decent start to the season. Then he got hurt, and Tyson Barrie. And I would call those two stopgap veterans. They're not part of the future. They probably weren't ever going to be in the lineup when they open the new Saddle Dome in a couple of years. But if you think about it, Jay, Anthony Mantha's injury opened the door for Matt Coronado. Matt Coronado burst on the scene as a sophomore and showed this organization he's probably going to be a 30-goal two-way player here for a long time. And they locked him up to a pretty healthy extension a while back. And I think they're aware that they don't want to put roadblocks in front of the young players, but they do want to give them competition. So that's why I don't think we're seeing more stopgap veterans this season coming up for the Flames. They're going to give their young players every opportunity for top line power play minutes, for riding shotgun alongside what's become a pretty good first line duo in Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau. They don't want to give these kids any impediments. They want to make sure these kids are competitive and eager and always kind of working their tails off. But I don't think they're going to bring in any other veterans to necessarily take those spots. Beyond that, Jay, I think they desperately want a right-handed shooting center. There's just none available, right? I looked on NHL.com, and do you want to guess, Jay, how many right shot centers played more than 41 games that were born after the year 2000 last season? Take a guess.
First of all, that was an incredible job on the falsetto. I don't know, 5?
I tried. 15. So
Okay.
you're not far off, but they're kind of like a shooting star, right? So and it's names like Connor Bedard and Will Smith who are not leaving those respective teams. So you look, they want that, and I think they're going to try hard to get that. Obviously, you can use Anderson to attempt to get that right shooting center who's under 26, but they are so rare, and I think that's their priority more than say a PTO or a short-term bridge contract for a veteran.
Calgary has 2 picks in the first round of the draft on Friday, number 18, number 32. So they will be able to add to an already very deep prospect pool. The future appears to be bright in Cowtown. Salim Valji, you did a great job. And let's talk a little more frequently from now on, okay?
As long as I can stay still.